Imagine a world where Isaac Newton, the man who unlocked gravity, motion, and the laws of the universe, does one more impossible thing. He discovers electricity. 100 years before Benjamin Franklin ever flies a kite. It begins in Newton's study, a quiet room filled with glass prisms, metal tools, strange devices, and parchment covered in scribbles. He is obsessed with understanding light. He splits beams with prisms, bends them, magnifies them, breaks them apart. But soon, something catches his attention. The strange sparks created when he rubs glass rods with cloth. In our timeline, Newton notes these sparks casually. But in this alternate timeline, he becomes fascinated. He begins to wonder, what is this fire that appears without flame? What unseen force makes these sparks jump? Newton becomes the world's first true electrical scientist. He experiments day and night. He builds early versions of Leyden jars long before they exist. He observes electrical attraction and repulsion. He records every spark, every shock, every reaction. Slowly, he begins forming laws, equations, centuries ahead of their time. The man who explained the falling apple now explains the invisible currents running through nature. Soon, Newton develops an early theory of electrical force, long before Coulomb or Faraday. He proposes that the same mathematical precision that governs planets also governs electricity. This single idea changes history. With royal funding from the British Crown, Newton constructs the first electrical laboratory. Students gather from across Europe. Experiments accelerate. Scientists begin building primitive batteries. Early conductive wires appear. Glass instruments become more advanced, capable of storing electrical charge. England becomes the early birthplace of electrical science, not in the 1700s, but in the 1600s. The world leaps forward. Doctors begin experimenting with electrical stimulation. Blacksmiths learn to melt metals with controlled sparks. Inventors build crude electrical motors centuries before Michael Faraday. Ships install lightning rods long before Franklin ever imagines one. Fire disasters decrease. Storm understanding improves. And Europe begins to think about machines powered not by animals, but by electricity. Newton's influence spreads like wildfire. Philosophers debate the nature of invisible forces. Engineers construct early telegraph-like devices that use electric pulses. Kings invest in electrical infrastructure. Cities glow faintly with early electro lamps, weak but revolutionary. The night begins to shrink as the world enters a premature electrical age. By the time the 1700s arrive, England is decades ahead of every nation on Earth. Factories begin replacing manual labor with crude electrical machinery. Communication speeds up. Scientific progress accelerates. The Industrial Revolution starts early, not powered by steam, but by the strange, powerful force Newton uncovered. When Benjamin Franklin is born, the world already has libraries full of electrical theories. He grows up reading Newton's Principia Electrica, a legendary book that does not exist in our real history. Instead of discovering electricity, Franklin expands it. He improves batteries. He refines electrical grids. He helps spread electrical knowledge to the American colonies. The 1800s arrive, and humanity is centuries more advanced. Early light bulbs shine on cobblestone streets. Electric trains move across Europe. Hospitals use controlled electricity for treatment. Scientists begin exploring magnetism, electromotive forces, and early forms of computation. By the time the 1900s arrive, humanity might already have electrical cars, global communication networks, early computers, and even advanced scientific theories far ahead of schedule. All because Isaac Newton looked at a spark and decided not to ignore it. Instead of waiting for Franklin's kite experiment in 1752, Newton uncovers the invisible power more than a century earlier, and the world never falls behind again. In this alternate timeline, the modern age begins early. Civilization advances faster. Technology rises sooner. Humanity steps into the future long before we ever expected. One man, one spark, one discovery that changes the destiny of the world. A universe rewritten by the genius of Isaac Newton.